There you go. Now we're recording.
Okay.
Cool. It's July 10th, right?
July 10th, yeah. So, I was reading just again further to like the show we were talking about the last time in the UK. There's like this big there's going to be this fight for the leadership of the Conservative Party, which makes you prime minister, and they're all running on fucking cutting taxes. They're going to do like a national. They're going to cut the national insurance contribution to by 5%, and that means. That's the NHS. That's like to defund the best fucking health system in Europe, again, and so their goal is, right. And these are the top, all the leading people who are in contention. It's like Sunak and Javid and Liz Truss hasn't announced yet, but she will. She'll probably be the next prime minister. Anyway, that's my prediction. She was foreign secretary. It's kind of like a stepping stone to being the prime minister. Remember Boris Johnson was foreign secretary?
Yeah.
He was great.
Was that when he was singing that song?
Probably. I don't know.
He was singing some very offensive song in India.
I think that was the time he was got stuck on the zip line. Remember he was in the zip line?
There was that too. No,
I think that was that. No, he might have been mayor of London then. I can't remember anyway.
No, there was that too.
Yeah. But
that was funny actually.
Yeah, so they're running on cutting taxes, and they want to cut the corporation tax. Corporation tax was supposed to go up from 19 to 25%, and they want to they're saying we're actually going to cut it by 1% a year till it's down to 15. And that's ridiculous. I mean, that's the tax base for everything that the country needs to run. And this is what they want to do. They want to completely gut the administrative state, which is what they want to do in the United States as well. Completely gut the administrative state and starve it of all resources, and then privatize the shit out of everything. They will sell off the NHS. They will privatize it. They've already started.
Do you not find it really funny? In America, there was defund the police, and I know there's loads of problems in England with the police as well.
Yeah,
there's a lot between sexual assault within in their ranks.
Yeah,
even.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But then also on citizens, there's abuse. There's a lot of things. It's people are so weird about how could you say defund the police where there's been an active campaign for years and years of defunding healthcare.
Stephen Hawkins, was that the kid's name?
Oh,
yeah, that was yeah. No, I remember. There's loads. Yeah, I mean, and the police are fucking terrible. They'll give them more money and they'll give the military more money, but they won't give more money to housing, education, welfare. Making sure that people have enough fucking food to eat. Clean water, that kind of shit. You know what I mean? There'll be another Grenfell. Before you know it, in that country.
It's just weird. How come, liberal parties are I don't know, it could be the Democrats in America or other things wouldn't be you're actively running a campaign to tell people, let's take away cancer care or something.
Well, this is, it's beyond me. Well, the people who vote, I mean, the UK, like the USA, people who, the shit is going to affect aren't the ones who vote. The ones who vote are the ones who are going to get, tax breaks, and their taxes are going to go lower, and they're not going to, and their corporations are going to do better, so they're going to make more money. And they're the ones who kind of run the whole show. So, I have a feeling it's like a race to the bottom again in the UK. So you've got rid of Boris Johnson. That's great. But, you haven't got rid of him because he's going to be there until they fucking find some other ghoul to take his place. But you've left the sort of that party is still in charge, and the other party that's against it is moved so far to the right that they're nearly the same party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, Margaret Thatcher, 2006, her most famous for me anyway, her most famous quote is someone asked her, this was a year before she died, what was your most, what was the biggest accomplishment in your tenure in British politics? And she said, Tony Blair and New Labour. Because she created, they moved the country so far right that the Labour Party had to follow them, and they had to move to the right, and they had to, in order to win, the Labour Party had to move to the right. So it kind of completely just stifled the voices of the entire left movement and the labor movement and working people. And, it became a government of, the rich, elite, privileged people. One side just wants to be nicer to gay people, and the other side is just completely ghoulish. But, basically, in terms of economics, they're on the same exact page. Absolutely same exact page. Still and always.
That's always the funny thing. It's like even with American politics, it's like they're so far right that you have these terms like centrist and whatever, and that basically means like I'm kind of cool with gays and some black people and some other weirdo minorities as long as the economics are right.
Yeah.
Which are right for a few people.
And then the people on the very right call them the fringe radical left.
And then you get to play dirty.
To be people calling fucking Joe Biden a fucking communist. It's like, are you fucking kidding me, man?
That's a really smart move.
I never saw him at any of the meetings. Fucking hell, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think it's a really smart move.
Well,
it's a really smart move. It's working.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they did, and this is what they do in the UK. I mean, they've watered the Labour Party down so much that they have fucking Kier Starmer is the fucking head of the Labour Party. He used to be in fucking MI6, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? This is not a. Labour was supposed to be like guys like fucking Arthur Scargill and fucking what's the other fucking guy's name? Big fucking lad who punched a guy in the face because he threw an egg at him. I can't remember his name.
Oh, wait, that was in Australia, right?
No. That was in the UK. Oh God, shit, I can't. Anyway, he was like a big Labour politician back in the 90s. I'll remember his name at some point, and I'll just fucking shout it out.
Racist Australian politician.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, but that guy was kind of.
He punched a kid.
Yeah. This was God. His name is like
kind of deserved it.
His name is like on the tip of my tongue, and this guy deserved it as well, man. He just fucking went for him because he was like an ex fucking miner. You know what I mean? Like he used to work in the fucking mines. You know what I mean? And so this is the kind of those were the people they had in the Labour Party, and they got rid of all them, and now they're all fucking stuffed suits from fucking. They all went to Eton and fucking Cambridge together. You know what I mean? So
and there's literally pictures of them being douchebags together, and you're like,
yeah.
That's not any more evidence of a setup.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel sorry for them. Like I have loads of friends who live in the UK, and I feel fucking sorry for them. And like they're really going down a road of just.
I mean, I thought Brexit was supposed to, skip money that was being sent over to the
EU.
EU,
it was a fucking
and it was supposed to come back into healthcare and other things and infrastructure.
I mean, the whole point, the point of Brexit was there were a lot of good points made about Brexit, about Europe. There were a lot of good points about Europe. I mean, Europe was created
to the EU in general.
Europe was created by a bunch of fucking bankers like Klaus Schwab and those fucking World Economic Forum people that wanted to make it, like the free movement of goods and labor. So basically, they could cheapen labor, and they had no fucking obstructions to like goods and services, and it was a financial services thing. It was a banker's wet dream. So there were a lot of problems with Europe, but the answer wasn't for Britain to get out of Europe. The answer was for like a Labour Party, because they used to say that Jeremy Corbyn was anti-Europe, and he was, but based on the things that I just said.
Yeah. On basic economic schemes that keep countries in debt and basically their people based on standards that don't matter.
So I mean you have the ECB, the European Central Bank, is like giving loans to fucking Greece to bail them out of problems that were created by the fucking bankers in Germany and France and the UK.
Yeah.
But in order to fucking make them, in order to give them the loan, the conditions that they gave Greece this fucking bailout loan was that they cut their fucking pensions by half. You mean like literally cut people's pensions in half? And these are fucking old poor people. And this is that. I mean, so that was a huge problem with fucking Europe, and still is.
No, it is.
And the answer wasn't for the UK to get out. The answer was for the UK's fucking social and labour parties to get fucking stronger.
Also, they could have helped everybody else.
So they could have helped every fucking body else in the EU.
That was never going to happen.
But they, people are too. I don't know. It was like, it was a very dubious campaign that was run by the Brexiteers, and like that the NHS was given 350 million pounds a day to Europe, and that they would get that money back straight away, and they're more fucked now than they were when they were in Europe.
Way more
and
fucked.
It's ridiculous.
Way more fucked, because at least their politicians also had somebody to answer to at that point.
Well,
I mean,
there's that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
that
like, not
too.
to be a
Yeah,
dick, but-
but I mean, they're still fucking subject to the European Criminal Court because they're still in that treaty. So
Yeah.
the whole thing was fucking stupid. I think what they really wanted to do was to turn the entire all of the UK into like a tax haven.
The tax haven.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, though, the very basis, like, or the very like basis of everything in the EU is like supposed to be, you know, this is supposed to be a group of countries with the same kind of outlook that there's supposed to be a better life for people, right? It is the most like, I don't know, it just makes you want to say dick sucker. I don't know, I just hate them. I hate this concept of that because it's so pretentious. You know what I mean? Because really, like. People in the EU are not living better, but the thing is, you get these comments of being like, you know, if you're in Sweden, you have this life mapped out for you. You get free healthcare, you have free this, free that. And it's like, they play such economic games. In the end, I mean, this cannot run for very long. And this is the only way that we're keeping people at bay.
No, I mean, like the prosperity of the relative prosperity of the EU is at the fucking expense of what the EU does to the fucking rest of the world.
Exactly.
The EU and the US do to the rest of the world.
Exactly. So it's really funny
I
to
mean,
me.
if my phone was made here in fucking Spain, that thing would cost fucking $14,000. You know what I mean? Like, there's no fucking way. And this, you know, they outsource all the labor out. I mean,
So how can you have this ridiculous frontier, you know, around you where you're like, this is where people deserve to have human rights and this is where people don't?
I don't.
So now should we
I
like
don't
burn
know.
people in England alive or something?
I don't know. I don't agree.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't agree with any of it. I don't think
Yeah.
there should be. I think everyone. I do think we need like to have like a world government, but not like. But I don't want it run by fucking Klaus Schwab and those fucking ghouls who are the ones who are going to wind up running it. You know, I don't want. I want Davos. I want everybody. I want Davos turned into a fucking like a maximum security penitentiary. In my fucking world, that's where you're going, man. You know, when the revolution happens, we're turning
Go
Davos
Davos.
into a maximum security prison.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody who lives there, sorry, unless you're fucking doing a working class job,
I mean-
you're going into that fucking prison.
I mean, and not to be a dick, but due to these people and their global initiatives, we have real global problems. So we probably do need some kind of like,
Absolutely.
you know, like we need to tackle the environmental problem together, or the health issues, or fucking.
We're gonna have to. The problem, and like a problem with this is we get down to like the capitalism issue
Well,
again.
there's
It's
no
like
profit has to be out of the question on this.
yeah, but I mean, like there's certain things that like, and I'm not like a fucking strident communist or anything, but I do believe that there are some things that there's just no profit margin. I mean, the profit margin is not. It's not. You know, you can't monetize the profit margin on cleaning up the environment and on making like everyone like have like, you know, a decent life, you know, and like everyone and like they're not being fucking famine and shit. You can't monetize that. So there are certain things that are above what capitalism is able to do. And I think capitalism is not fit for purpose when it comes to things like energy, healthcare, education, social welfare, basic fucking services. Now, you can argue that like, okay, you know, you can have luxuries and stuff, and you can have other things that capitalism can operate in, but capitalism cannot run. It's failed. It's failed like miserably.
It's a really funny example. I was talking to my friend. I said there's like this real weird thing amongst black people about Magic Johnson and surviving AIDS.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, it's really weird because I'm like.
He never had AIDS. He was HIV positive.
Yeah, but they, you know.
Yeah.
They're always, you know. Everyone thinks that he actually had full-blown AIDS, and because there's some magic cure. It's stupid. It's like Richard Gere, gerbil shit.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
No, I
'Cause
get
there's
it,
all these
yeah.
stories of him saying to girls that he fucked, that he had AIDS, and that he has the cure or whatever. I don't know if that's true. I doubt that. But it is an example to you that at the time that he had it, it was still so scary.
Yes.
And it is scary.
Yes.
And that he got through it, and everyone thought, like, you know, there's so many black people who've died of AIDS.
Yes.
And so many people who who died without dignity, suffered, did
Absolutely.
not get care. And not, I mean, you grew up in,
Just disgusting.
you were in San Francisco.
Yeah,
Okay.
disgusting.
So the thing is, it's like, people said, but that's capitalism, but that's one person who got access. So really, like, it's not just capitalism failed. Capitalism is like the issue.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I
AIDS
agree.
is the thing that happens, but like, why is that one black rich guy got
Because
rid
he's
of-
rich.
Yeah.
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 I mean, he
It's
got
always
the,
a thing amongst people.
he got. I mean, he did like. I mean, I know the rumor you're talking about. There's like the idea that there's like a miracle cure,
Yep.
and they gave it to Magic
And
because
it's-
he's rich. but they didn't give it to any rest. And that's not the well. There is a miracle cure. It's actually good, like good timely fucking health care. And he had the money to have the access to the best possible health care, and he was able to get taken care of. And he was able to through his nutrition, through his fucking medications, through whatever he was. We could have done that for everybody who had AIDS.
That's what I'm saying.
HIV.
Yeah.
Not necessarily AIDS.
Yeah,
I think once you had AIDS, I think it was a different story. But even then, But we didn't.
I think his wife is Cookie Johnson. I think it's Cookie, and I think there was tons of rumors at the time because obviously he had cheated on her a lot.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And
those guys were fucking animals on tour.
At that time, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole thing was like there
Wilt
was
Chamberlain, which is before
he was the
he
first.
was just
Well, he fucked his way through.
The numbers he put up were like, what the fuck, man? He did more numbers in the bedroom than he did on the fucking basketball court, man. So, yeah.
And I think the whole thing was that they were talking about his wife had not got it passed. And I think for a lot of the whole idea of barbershops or bars or whatever, people talk about them and be like, that's shady,
Yeah.
That's weird. And you can understand that because just somebody who's looking at it in a very simplistic way, you're just like, he has money. Well, we're not in on what's going on, and really, the sentiment is true. We're not in on it.
They're right. They are right.
It's not a little pill that says
it's
the AIDS, HIV.
I mean, there's a reason that really well. I mean, Jerry Hall, she's fucking getting rid of what's his name, Rupert Murdoch.
I thought he was getting rid of her.
Oh, I don't know. I thought she was divorced. Anyway, who gives a fuck? But she still looks great, and she's in her fucking she's got to be 70.
Yeah, she's got to be 70.
And she still looks great. Rich people look better because they get first of all, they have zero fucking stress in their lives for the most part.
No, they have stress.
It's different than fucking. It's different than the stress of worrying about how you're going to fucking pay the bills at the end of the month or whether you're going to get kicked out of your house. And you know what I mean? That's a whole different fucking level of stress. Their level of stress is I don't know, which boat are we going to take to fucking Catalina Island? You know what I mean?
I mean, I think with money anyways, you're still going to have problems. But I think
agreed. I mean, I went to high school with loads. I mean, my high school was really mixed between rich kids and a load of there was scholarship kids and there was middle of the road kids like me and rich kids were fucked up. We know that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, the girls were self-harming. There was fucking loads of drugs.
Yeah.
There was there were girls that were at 15 had already fucking slept with 20 guys. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
That's fucked up. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? And
I'm not trying to be a dick, but whoa.
Yeah, but it's just. But this is not a healthy thing for anybody to be fucking doing. You know what I mean?
Jeez,
I mean, we all said when we were 15 that we'd been with 20 girls.
Of
but
course.
Not one of us fucking had been with one.
Never seen a vagina since he came out of one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's boys. You know what I mean? That's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of crazy. But also, it's just the fact that you can get well taken care of. Your base needs can get taken care of. Most people are just trying to get that. If you're excuse me. If you're just trying to feed yourself.
It's rough, man.
You're behind the game.
It's fucking rough out there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
outside these EU lines.
I'm fucking blessed now. I've done okay, and I'm but I'm in my late fucking 50s now. But I fucking worked my ass off when I was in my 30s. I mean, it was we lived paycheck to paycheck until till I bought my house in 1990. I bought my house in 1999, and that was, and I was just so lucky to have bought the house then. When you could still buy a house on one salary.
Wow.
Which was mine.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, and it doubled in value in the space of fucking 5 years, and I sold it and I kept the money,
right.
And then I
invested, saved it, or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. But prior to that, I fucking worked my ass off.
But maybe somebody could work just as hard as you did back then, and they're fucked.
And they're fucked. Yeah. No, I mean, I've said this, but we used to do this. We did this great thing about I have a really good friend. I have one really good friend, but guys are both same age. Two friends, right? One guy opened this restaurant. It was a run of the mill, ordinary kind of packed out to the rafters on a fucking Saturday and Sunday suburban Dublin restaurant, and this guy. He opened it in a pub, so he took the license off the pub owner for the restaurant. A lot of pubs have a room upstairs. It's like a restaurant. and he only opened Saturday and Sunday, and it fucking took off like a rocket. And then he opened his own place, and he's a multi-millionaire now. Plays fucking golf with PJ McManus and all those guys who are, like, he's one of them. And I have another friend who did the same thing at the same time in a very similar place, in a very similar, I mean, it was almost like cookie cutter identical, these two things. And this guy is still working his ass off, and he's like, he didn't work any less hard. He's not like stupider, or there's luck, and then there's such a huge part of all. I mean, like, I got lucky. I went back to New York because my dad got really sick, and I sold a house at like the very top of the market. I bought it like right before the market went up. Totally, like, not that I was some kind of fucking genius, but I needed to buy a house then, and that's when I bought the house. And because I divorced my Sean's mom,
right?
And I got lucky, and you can get lucky, and if you get lucky, great, and if you don't get lucky,
Fuck.
Yeah,
You're fucked.
And that's a terrible fucking system to live in.
Yeah, because like there's things that like you see people who like we see these like MAGA people, right? It's always talking about freedom, this, freedom, that. They want, dignity, freedom, all that stupid shit that they say. And you're like, they say things that make you think these people would really benefit from social safety nets. You know what I mean?
There's absolutely no question about that.
There's no question about that. They're connecting to somebody who has nothing to do with that. And
but even like in the UK where we started the conversation, like in the UK, there people who are like,
Brexiters.
bitching and moaning about like foreigners coming in and taking the benefits. Like, well, and they're going in like, all you have to do is arrive, and like, I've been here for all my life, and I can't get anything, and these come in and they get benefits, and they get a free house, which is complete fucking nonsense. But this is how they do it. They put you against them, and they're like, look, it's not. Like, there's the guy, I love that cartoon I've told you about where Rupert Murdoch is there, and there's a big pile of cookies, and there's a black guy with no cookies, and a white guy with a hard hat on with one cookie.
Yeah.
And Rupert Murdoch's got the big pile of cookies, and he looks at the working helmet guy and says, he's trying to steal your cookie.
Yeah.
And it's like,
dude,
they've got all the cookies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
you're fighting over crumbs.
And you're fighting over crumbs.
Yeah.
And fighting each other over crumbs.
Right.
Not them.
Go
You're not
beat
trying to
'em.
take some of the fucking shit off them. And
Yeah,
this
go
is
beat
this
them
is
up.
where we are.
Go beat them up.
This is where we are.
Yeah, go beat up. No, just kidding. No, I'm not kidding.
I mean, the system is just designed like it's like everywhere. It's not just it's not just the UK. It's here. It's I mean we're down here in this neighborhood in Poblasac, but like when you go up to Sarria and like just. I mean, that's where all the money is in Barcelona.
And they're not dealing with us.
They're not dealing. No, they don't fucking come down here.
They don't care. Think anyone gets robbed up there?
Their kids come down here whenever there's a protest to like burn shit.
Yeah.
To cosplay it being like leftist anarchists and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, the independents, which is a fucking right wing fucking scam as well.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's super easy.
Yeah,
I mean, we see it with like you could get people riled up about separatists in the States. It's easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got them riled up in Brexit. Separate, you know what I mean?
Exactly what Brexit and Trump are the same exact thing. And because they were, so pissed off about what was happening to them, and so they gave them an easy target for their rage, which was, like immigrants, or in both cases it was immigrants, coming, they're stealing our jobs, and they're making our lives worse.
The dirty other.
Yeah, exactly. And they really wanted to stick it to the fucking elites as well. The elites were fucking them over, and they knew it, but they didn't know how to, they didn't know how to get to them. So they're like, well, fuck them. We're going to fucking get out of fucking Europe, because they're making a shitload of money off Europe, which they were. Because it was set up by bankers and fucking scumbag fucking vultures like Klaus Schwab.
Yeah, I really want to know how British people suffered from Europe, or was it the fact that they suffered from the British politicians who also negotiated those deals?
This is exactly what happened.
It's like, get mad at them, get rid of your people.
Like HSBC and fucking Barclays.
HSBC is really bad.
Yeah. And all those banks, they like Deutsche Bank, UBS, all these fucking European multinational fucking banks they made Europe is the fucking was like a money printing machine for them, And because there were so many jurisdictions, they were able to fucking launder money really easily. That's how it was set up. I mean, and that is truly a fucking problem with Europe to this fucking day right now as we speak. The good thing about Europe is like freedom of movement, and the things that we enjoy, which are good things. But they threw those bones so we would look the other way about this shit.
Very carefully.
Yeah.
They set us up very carefully.
Yeah. Like fascists always do, where they give you, some shit, like the Peronistas in Argentina. They give you like housing and, social welfare and education. But
who's going to take food out of their kids' mouth?
Yeah. Who's going to vote against the guy who's fucking giving them fucking books for their kids and food for their kids?
Who's gonna
do that? But like, it doesn't like it kind of hides the fact that when the kids get educated enough to realize that that's what's happening to them, then they get fucking disappeared, which is what happened in Argentina. You know what I mean? Once the kids were smart enough to be like, wow, this is fucking, hang on a minute. We're being fucking hoodwinked here. And they start to speak out, and then they got disappeared. You know what I mean? So
Get disappeared. Wow. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's a weird, fucked up way to say that.
Well, it's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what they call them, the desaparecidos.
Wow.
Like, there's a whole generation of kids that were fucking disappeared.
Wow.
Nobody knows what happened to them. They're fucking gone. And, they have the, I think it's the 25th of May, the Las Abuelas de Mayo 25, I think that's what they're called. I have to ask one of my Argentinian friends. But I know, I'm right anyway. I may not have the exact fucking date, but they still have a rally every year on the 25th of May. I think it's the 25th of May in the big square in Buenos Aires, like with like pictures of their fucking kids that just disappeared, And so and these are fucking grandmothers now.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. So.
All right, let's take a little break.
Yeah, and we'll come back and talk about what a fucking Nazi Shinzo Abe was. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, yes, Shinzo Abe got shot and assassinated last week. And, and everybody's like going the usual, like, oh, he was a great leader and he was this and he was that. Fair enough. But he's like, the party that he was in was the Liberal Democratic Party in Japan, and they've been in charge basically since the 50s. It's a one-party state. And like, the U.S. occupied Japan from 1945 to 1955. When the LDP, the Liberal Democratic Party, took over in 1955, they've basically run the country ever since. And they've, and much like what happened in Japan's a great thing to talk about because there's a couple of things that really I've always talked about with Japan. What happened in Japan is like what happened with Germany as well, where at the fall of the Nazis, when the Nazis fell, they just took all the fucking scientists who were performing all these horrendous fucking just like experiments on live people, and they repurposed them as like, and they gave them if they were too fucking evil, they got them to Paraguay and Bolivia and places like that. But if they could, they repurposed them and recycled them and brought them into American society to use them against the Soviet Union.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole reason that the U.S. got involved in the Second World War to start with had nothing to do with freedom and democracy and liberty and all the bullshit you hear about. What it had to do with was making sure that U.S. hegemony stayed in place and that the Russians, the Soviets, did not, because the Soviets basically won the Second World War. It wasn't the fucking U.S. and the Brits and the French. It was the fucking Soviet Union that won the Second World War. And so... like that with so what happened with Japan was when they decided to drop the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they didn't need to do that. Like the Japanese were ready to surrender, but the fear was that the Russians were going to declare war the next day. I think the Russians were going to declare war on the 7th of or the 8th or 9th of August, and the 10th of August maybe, and they dropped the fucking first atomic bomb on the 9th and then the second one on the 12th. I think I got my dates right. I'm not 100% sure. It works out that way, whatever. They did not need to do that. It's a fucking war crime. Harry Truman should have been hung. And even one of the fucking pilots of the fucking Enola Gay, which was the fucking plane that dropped the fucking first bomb, said,
"That's crazy.
We better win this war or we're going to get fucking tried for war crimes." It was one of the pilots. I can't remember which one. I got to fucking check that.
You
now as
imagine
well.
that shit on your head.
Oh, man. Fucking hell. I mean, you just incinerated like 75,000 people in like a minute. Less than a minute. Like a second. And then they did the same. And then decided to do it again 3 days later.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Anyway, so
Like, you didn't figure that out?
the whole thing was about like showing the Russians that we had it,
Yeah.
for starters.
Yeah.
And then we took Japan, and like Japan became like the base. Japan became our Israel in Asia. So we've got Israel in the Middle East, and we've got Japan in Asia. So it's like the outpost of Western so-called democracy, capitalist hegemony, and Japan is the outpost in the East, and Israel is the outpost in the Middle East. And the UK arguably is the outpost in Europe. I think so. I make a good fucking further into that, like, theory that I have. But so Shinzo Abe comes from a family of, like, his grandfather was one of the architects of the military coup in the 20s that created the sort of imperial Japan and then invaded China, Mongolia, and Korea. And if you think the fucking Germans did fucked up shit to people, Jesus fucking Christ, the Japanese were fucking horrible, man.
I think both of his grandparents were, both of his maternal and paternal grandfathers were prime minister or politicians. Both of them.
They both were, yeah. They both were.
A long line. I think his father as well.
I think his father as well, but I know his grandfather because I read a really long article about it. This was fucking years ago. I only fucking remembered this when I was like going through shit. I was like, oh, hang on a minute, I fucking remember reading about that. That like his grandfather was one of the sort of architects of the militaristic Japan that rose up, and they were, and essentially it's just like goes to show like the Americans once again they're at the fucking middle of every fucking thing, man.
It drives you fucking mental.
It does absolutely drive me fucking crazy because I have to listen to him like right in the modern day going on like, oh, we're the beacon of fucking democracy and liberty and freedom. It's like, the shit that, you can say that at home because of the fucking shit that you've done abroad is fucking horrible. Supported the worst fucking people. I mean, like throughout the Cold War, and even now, I mean, the people that they're supporting in Ukraine are fucking Nazis, man. I'm sorry. Not all of them, but there's a huge Nazi element in Ukraine that they're supporting. And it doesn't matter. As long as it achieves a goal of, in this case, it's making Russia weaker. But back then, in Japan and like sort of, this is what I mean by like Shinzo Abe was like, he was part and parcel of this whole, conspiracy between the U.S. and the Japanese and the U.S. and Europe to to destroy the Soviet Union. And now, it's been like we realized. I think what they realized is that, my God, we can't go without an existential enemy because then everybody will say, why are we making more aircraft carriers? So we need to have an existential enemy. So we've turned Russia and China into these existential enemies now. Yeah. And so, we still have our allies. Anyway, so we're in the same fucking place.
Yeah,
we haven't moved.
The enemy, it got vaguer during, like, George Bush, too. Sorry. It got more vague.
Yeah.
It was it was the war on terror, the war on drugs. That's another money. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like a money pit. It's like who
that was Nixon and Reagan, but yeah, same thing.
But I mean, it got like war on terror. What was that?
Yeah, it's It might just be It might have been the war on philosophy. It's just like it's a fucking I
don't think you're gonna win.
Terror is an abstract fucking thing. How can you have a war on an abstract thing? Yeah.
I mean, like you'd think it'd be more surgical than that when it was a surgical. It seems to be quite a surgical attack.
So I mean, I don't know what the guy's motivations were. Have you read anything about the motivations of the guy who killed Shinzo Abe?
No, I don't understand it. And it's a weird story. Like a homemade gun. Okay,
yeah, it was a weird-looking homemade gun as well. Yeah.
It was huge. It was huge. I don't even understand that. But it was also, you know what it also is to me? It's an odd story. I don't know. The whole thing, I don't understand what the point was. Maybe he's just crazy.
I know when like people, not all people, but like there are friends of mine in America who can listen to this and go, he always finds a way to blame America for everything. And I'm like, well, unfortunately, I don't have to really fucking make anything up. Do you know what I mean? I'm not making this up, man. You know what I mean? Like, the U.S. did go into Japan, and they did take all those fucking Japanese fucking sadist scientists who were doing just, like, the most, like, freezing people alive to see how long, like, you know, like, they could live before they froze to death. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, why do you need to know at what exact fucking point you could... I think they were trying to say, like, you could bring somebody back from almost being frozen to death. But, like, fuck you, man. I mean, honestly, these are fucking people, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You shouldn't even be doing us as fucking animals, man. Just don't put them in positions where they might freeze to death.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to have a fucking cure for freezing to death.
You'd think you'd work on a few other things.
Yeah. Stop doing fucking war over fucking frozen places where, you know, people might fucking get, you know, shot down and you know what I mean? But like they have constantly supported fascist governments all over the fucking world, constantly encouraged fascist governments and fascist coups and shit like that. The shit they did in Indonesia was fucking unbelievably off the charts, fucking sadistic and cruel. And the US and the CIA were 100% behind it all the way. And so, you know, so Shinzo Abe, yeah, it's sad that this old guy got shot, but, you know, he's not exactly like a fucking, you know, he's
Not a
not
teddy bear,
fucking
yeah.
Mr. Rogers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
You know?
Yeah, well, Mr. Rogers sounded like a badass.
Apparently Mr. Rogers killed a bunch of people in the fucking World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like hardcore.
Yeah, he was like bare hand
Yeah.
killing fucking machine.
Machine.
And then he came home and like talked to your children and every night, you know what I mean?
I mean, this guy, Shinzo Abe, though, it seems like even his whole family, they were also kingmakers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was like, you know, he was like prime minister twice, and he was like the longest serving prime minister, and you know, and his party has never been out of power since 1955.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And you know, and there was a burgeoning socialist movement in Japan. Believe me, that got squashed.
Oh, I mean, I don't know anything.
Can't have
about
that.
it. Yeah, you can't.
You can't have that.
It's weird though, you know. A few details, guys in the Navy. That's all we know about the assassins.
But I mean, I think you said it when we were on the break before. You said it like, but like Shinzo Abe has like things like he's like, you know, there's like really good social welfare, there's housing, there's
Yeah.
all you know, healthcare, all the shit. So like the best fascists, they do that.
Yeah, that's what Trump missed out on.
He was the fucking lane was there for him. He had both fucking houses of Congress. Didn't he have both? He did have both in the beginning. Yeah. He had was it Boehner and John Boehner and Mitch McConnell, I think, wasn't it?
Oh no, or was it the other guy, the idiot Paul Ryan? Was he in it?
Oh yeah, you're right. Paul Ryan
Yeah.
and fucking and
I
Mitch
fucking
McConnell.
hated him.
Oh, he was such a prick.
Oh, it works
Oh,
out.
you know he used to fuck? He did a fucking ad campaign with Rage Against the Machine's music playing, and like they were like, "Take this
That
fucking
shit
shit down
off."
immediately. You're the machine we were raging against."
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
He's
Tom.
so
what's
lame.
that guy's name? Tom Morello, the
Yeah,
the
he's
Rage Against
so
the Machine guy.
fucking lame, Paul Ryan.
Oh, he's such a and the minute the shit got a bit weird, he's like, "No, I'm gonna retire."
Yeah.
And he got out and he got a job. He's fucking lobbying for some big fucking money firm. Who the fuck knows?
Who
You know what I mean?
cares? He's rich.
Yeah. John Boehner was the same. Remember John Boehner, he was like, they used to make fun of Trump for being orange. I mean, that guy spent more time in a fucking tanning booth than anything else.
It's weird how they all either like ghoulish white or like really weird and like
Yeah.
Mandarin orange.
Yeah.
I guess that's the difference between Florida or Connecticut.
I guess.
Not
Yeah.
to be a dick. Wow. I don't know where that came from.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So on the death of Shinzo Abe, like it's
Whatever.
tragic when a fucking politician, when somebody gets assassinated. It shouldn't have to fucking happen to anybody. You know what I mean?
No.
But it just
I also think killings at a political event make things much more.
I just wish people would look more into these things and sort of go like, holy shit, this is, because you would, whatever fucking side of the political spectrum you find yourself on, if you saw some of the shit that really fucking happened, I would think that you would go, holy shit. Because I know loads of people, because I lived in upstate New York, and upstate New York is red America.
Yeah.
That's like fucking it's Trump country up there. I mean, it's not enough to counteract the sort of east of the Hudson River, but it's Trump country. You're in the Midwest when you get to Rochester, and
Crazy.
Yeah.
How that Midwest stretched out.
It's 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 always been like that. It's always been like that. I remember going up there when I was a kid, and it's
Yeah.
always been like that.
But I mean, the idea of it, like, I don't know if I would ever necessarily think just a whole state is like this or a whole state is like that, but I do feel the sentiment is that, it's getting to be like the cities are bad.
Yeah.
And it's always been like that, but I don't know if it's like.
I mean, you could like realistically, you could divide New York right now. It's really easy. It's the Hudson River. Everything east of the Hudson River is like Democrat fucking
or so-called progressive.
So-called progressives, and everything west is like Marjorie Taylor Greene country. And it's true. Like New York's, I mean, there's like little pockets of like so-called liberals in in the cities in upstate New York. But the vast majority of like little towns that I lived in, like my fucking congressman was a Republican.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I didn't vote for him.
I was just thinking just because of like the crazy prices of like living and working in New York, that a lot of people are moving away and living out, and so these like little towns and stuff are starting to get like inhabited by more.
They this is true. They are. Yeah, they are moving, like the Catskills and stuff like that. Like my cousins bought a house my cousin and her wife bought a house in like the Catskills, and they're doing it up, and they're super liberal, lefty. Well, they're not even lefty. They're liberals, but like.
My cousin and her wife. So I mean,
yeah, my cousin works for like fucking Google or something like that. She's on like a fucking I love her to bits.
Of course,
and I'm coming to the fucking house.
Yeah.
I'm going to the house.
But you couldn't write a perfect script for that.
No. And so like so there is that. But like New York's a funny place. New York State is a funny place. It's like really is. It's indicative of the whole United States, actually. New York is like a great microcosm of the whole United States, because when you get out into the hinterland, it's fucking super fucking Republican.
Yeah.
And when you get into the cities, it's super Democrat. And the Democrats think they're like so fucking amazing, even though they're useless as shit. And the Republicans are, craven, but they're straight up, but they manage to get shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I get that.
Yeah. We've had Republican governors like a couple times.
Yeah,
Pataki.
who was the big Pataki, right?
Yeah.
Was George Pataki? No.
George Pataki.
George Pataki. Right. For a while, right?
Yeah. And fucking Giuliani's kid is running for governor now as well.
Did you see that piece of shit
when he slapped him? Fucking hell, man. He said,
I thought I was going to die.
Jesus Christ.
He's got a drinking problem.
He's definitely got a drinking problem, for sure,
that's
man.
just clear.
As someone with a drinking problem, I can tell you those are the symptoms.
I mean, you don't make up fucking wild fucking stories.
No, I don't.
But
I come in here and I make up fucking stories all the time. You know what I mean?
Not like that. That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow, that was wild. When I saw the video, I was like, what happened? I didn't even know.
Yeah, it's like you see the video and you're like waiting for it. So when is the guy going to hit him?
I thought
is somebody going to come and hit him now?
It's like
this guy walked past him and like boom, and he's like just gone.
I think I tap people like that regularly.
Apparently, the guy said, "You're a fucking scumbag." He hit him on the back and said, "You're a fucking scumbag."
Yeah.
But I got to be honest with you. He was in Staten Island, and that could go two ways. Instead of Staten Island, could be like, you come up to one of your best friends and go, "Hey, you're a fucking scumbag," or "Hey, you're a fucking scumbag." You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of a traditional traditional greeting in Staten Island.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly.
But also it's like I'm not trying to be a dick. I know he's an older man, but I mean, like, this is America's mayor. You fought like
it's a tough
you were
guy.
there,
You're a tough guy. Man.
You brought down the mafia. Didn't he bring down the big bosses?
He did bring down the mafia.
So I'm sure a ton of fucking wise guys.
Fucking dreams, he brought down the mafia.
Wow.
The mafia brought themselves down because they were just fucking clowns. They were not like the world got too sophisticated for them, and they were fucking too stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the FBI just like they just made up laws to make whatever they were doing illegal. And if two of them talked about it, it was RICO, and everybody got done. And that's what
I love that. RICO really fucked shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the federal government. I mean, he was like an ADA, right?
He was the
district attorney
for the. He was like he was the Southern District of New York, the lawyer. What do they call that? No, it's not a district attorney. That's I can't remember what the fuck they call it, but that was him.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like he was fucking.
Yeah, he's a fucking clown, man.
He's a clown.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we take a little break and come and talk about a little segue. Or?
Yeah, I'll do a little segue for next week, and
cool.
then yeah.
So we're recording.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. So
So yeah, like I said, I want to drop a hint about what we'll talk about the next time we hook up.
Swingers. I'm just kidding.
No, Jesus Christ, no. First of all,
I ruined everything.
I'm way too fucking old. You'd have to have like a fucking defibrillator next to the fucking bed for me, and like a bowl of fucking Viagra. But anyway,
and the dead body of Henry Kissinger.
Oh yeah, just to turn me on.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about my son's trying to buy a house in Ireland, and he's like 32. He's been working for fucking since he was 18. Good fucking solid, been saving money for fucking 10, 12 years. And his girlfriend is the same, working her ass off since she was. I mean, I knew her when they went to high school together, essentially in it was kind of junior high school. So this is a fucking good sound couple. She's got a really good job. Her job pays more than his, but his job is he works in fucking joinery, so he makes like furniture and doors and windows and shit. He'll never be out of work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They're trying to buy a fucking fix-up house in Dublin, and it's a fucking disaster because every time they get in on the fucking, the bidding war, that somebody comes in with cash, and there's these fucking thing that I read the other day. There's a company called Greystar Finance, or Greystar Finance. Well, anyway, it's a big fucking fund, a private equity fund, and they're buying up property all over Europe.
Of course they are.
And they came in and they bought. They came into Ireland and they bought 350 fucking housing units in an apartment complex that was just newly built that was supposed to be for residential, and they bought it up for 1.77 million pounds or euros, and now they're all rental units and they're renting them, and so
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I'm going to talk to Sean later on today and see how his house hunt is going, and I'm going to do a little bit more research on this Greystar company because, and the links that the Greystar company has with, they're talking about how there's fewer and fewer private landlords in Ireland because they're renting out their already rental properties at private, like lots of lawyers and doctors and shit. What used to happen was a doctor from the country would buy a house up in Dublin for their kids when they went to college. Because houses were cheap as fucking shit.
Yeah.
And they would buy kids go to Trinity or UCD or DCU or whatever. They would buy houses for their kids. And now they have these houses. And they're selling them to these fucking vulture funds for just massive amounts. Of $1.5 million for houses, man. It's the average fucking price of a house in Dublin is €500,000 fucking euros. It's fucking insanity. So, yeah, I really want to talk about that. So that's what we'll talk about next week.
Yeah, and that's a world crisis at the moment.
That's a world crisis, and it's not just them, because that crowd are all over the fucking world. Yeah. Greystar Finance, and they're you can be sure, I'm going to fucking make a prediction here that I'm going to get to the name Blackstone within 2 steps. Or Vanguard. Or State Street, or one of those fucking mega corporations of fucking just money.
I was about to say that shit's going to go deep.
Yeah. So.
Or not that deep. It's
no, it's not going to be that deep, man. It's going to be.
I always think it's really.
They don't need to go deep anymore. They're just doing it right out in the open. They don't give a shit anymore. You know what I mean?
I thought we were all against.
Hey, it's capitalism, bitches. This is where we live, and that's what they're doing. So here we are.
It's capitalism, bitches.
That's the one.
That's a T-shirt.
It's capitalism, bitches. Yeah, get over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could give it out to homeless people on the street.
Oh Jesus.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Bye.
No, I'm not gonna bring him into it.
Bye.
Bye.